What is up, y'all? Welcome to this episode of Santa Cruz Medicinals Radio. By popular demand, Dr. Abood Bakri is back in the house.
Let's do it.
Let's go. You didn't get too famous off the Huberman thing. You responded to my text, you know.
We still homies, boy. Once we homeboys, we always homeboys.
Dude. I love it. Yeah, that podcast, man, I'm telling so many people, like, when they're like, oh, what do you think about peptides? I'm like, go listen to Bakri on Dr. Huberman, and then go from there. Like, figure out what you want to do from there. It's a really good overview, so go check that out, folks.
We'll go deeper today.
We'll go deeper into some stuff. Now I am a human experiment for some peptides, which is fun. So I tore my ACL. I've talked to Abood a bunch, like from the day I tore my ACL, and I'm doing this attempt at a no surgery rehab. So to do this, peptides are a huge part of this. So immediately after I got this injury, I was doing large doses of BPC. So like 4 to 5 milligrams, like right in there. And then from there, like a milligram. So for a lot of people, when they hear BPC, they go towards these dosages. Like I used to back in the day when I would get like hurt. I've tried it before and it's like, oh, a little 200, 500 micrograms. Why are like larger doses like that kind of the move for injuries?
So for BPC, the problem is we don't know the data, good or bad. We don't know what the dosage is for humans. People are kind of extrapolating based on some of the mice studies, what a dose might be, but we don't know what the therapeutic dose is for humans. In fact, like the enema studies that they ran in the early 2000s on BPC were 80 milligram enemas.
Wow.
So quite large doses. We don't know what the dose would be for, let's say, an ACL injury, if there is even ACL data. There's mice ACL data. Like they actually tore the ACL, the little ACL of mice, and then they would get recovering, but we don't know. So anecdotally now, there's been a couple of providers, researchers, and one people that will say like, dude, BBC works much better at higher dosages. Now, does that increase the risk profile? Is it not? That's the big question. But like we talked to some research groups, like we're going to do 250 microgram injections. I'm like, I don't think you're going to see a signal unless you go a little bit higher.
Yeah. And is that just from you talking to a bunch of people, obviously, that have gotten injured, use this? You've injured yourself, lifting a bunch of weight, tearing muscle off the bone. Hopefully we won't do that in our lift later today. We're going to keep it chill. I'm not going to keep up with you lifting. But like, so you tore your tricep, and so you were doing large doses of BPC. And how big?
Like 5 to 10.
Yeah. And then like, so like a single dose 5-10 or like multiple weeks?
All right, so I was lifting. We were doing tricep extensions. It was my friend Adam and Larry Wheels that we talked about last time, and they're like 300 pounds. They're way stronger than I am, and I did their weight like an idiot. And then I hear a off the bone. And it's purple from here to here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've seen those. Look at Logan Paul. You see Logan Paul's tricep?
Yep.
Logan Paul, you better listen to this because this is the protocol.
So. But I still felt the connection. So I'm like, okay, it's a grade 2. I had my orthopedics friend look at it, and it's like, it's probably grade 2. Let's get an MRI, let's image it, do PT. I couldn't extend my arm for a few days. And I put the BPC right in there. Don't try this at home. Not medical advice, guys, right?
Nothing on here is medical advice.
This is all theoretical. But I put the BPC in there, and then like within days, I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Like I'm feeling the tendon work better. A grade 2 tricep tear, we're talking about probably 8 to 12 weeks. Yeah. And in 3 weeks, my PT's like, oh, dude, you can like do tricep extensions again. You can do all this stuff. So that's the problem. Like, it's hard for me to tell people that BPC doesn't work because we don't have research data on it. At the same time, I and many other people have had such amazing experiences. It's like, it's very cruel. Yeah. And that's why we're working so hard to get this data out and help research groups do the proper research. Because either BPC is this amazing compound, and millions of people are missing out. Like how many people now have joint replacements that they could have pushed off 2-3 years? People that have injuries, careers that could have been extended. Yeah. Who knows what, LeBron James, Ronaldo, Messi, these guys are doing. They extend their careers. Or BPC is very dangerous. Let's say theoretically, let's be honest with ourselves. And millions of people are about to inject it and then harm themselves. So we need the data either way.
Yeah, we need the data either way. So in terms of like dosing this stuff, is it true that BPC has some like half-life? So like if you have an injury, you want to do it like theoretically multiple times per day? Or for a lot of people I know, like they just do it at night, like what any data there?
So a couple of things to think about there. First of all, BPC, we don't have a pharmacodynamic data on it. We don't know the LD50, like what dose kills people or animals. We don't know. We don't know how it gets metabolized, where it gets metabolized. Is it liver metabolism? kidney metabolism? Does it get broken down locally in the area through peptidases or what other kind of enzymes? The reason to theoretically do it at night is if it coincides with your growth hormone pulse. So if you are sleeping within 2 to 3 hours of sunset, you're going to get a giant GH pulse around the first wave of deep sleep. The animal models show that if you put BPC into tendon tissue, you increase the growth hormone receptor on the tendon.
Interesting.
So then you're theoretically now taking the BPC with the growth hormone pulse. People may stack on a Tesamorelin or actual growth hormone itself to get more of that growth hormone pulse.
Which we'll get into because I did stack on the Tesamorelin through your advice. And what I've found is, this is anecdotal. This is just me. So I started hitting it with the BPC. I did some TB500 as well.
Sure. TB4 or TB5? Do you know?
TB5.
Okay.
Can you talk about that? Because I didn't buy TB5 because you don't know what you're gonna get from the sites. Is it a fragment? Is it full TB4?
That's a good question. Part. So with TB500, like I talked to so many people about BPC, and I came to the conclusion that for myself to experiment with my knee and try to look at what this injury mechanism, the ACL now gets very little blood flow, and there's the LCL damage, and blood flow is key here. So you look into angiogenesis, and I'm like willing to sort of take that risk. And then hearing folks like yourself talk about, people say potentially angiogenesis maybe can lead to cancer, but you've brought up the fact that there are drugs that inhibit angiogenesis that did not work for cancer, right?
So angiogenesis is a process the body does every day. For example, when you work out, you cause angiogenesis. Right? Let's be fair there, because you want more blood flow into the muscle to repair the muscle. Angiogenesis is a downstream contributor to cancer. So what cancer does is it hijacks all your natural systems to work for itself. So it will tell the body, send me blood vessels so I can grow and then spread. So it's a hijacking of the natural system. Now, this is the question, can cancer now take advantage of BPC to accelerate that process? So BPC has no mutagenic effects. It's not going to cause a cell to mutate from a normal cell into a cancer cell. But if a cancer exists, can it cause more blood flow to the cancer? There's enough anecdotal reports of people that have a cyst that grows when they're on BPC, a hematoma that might grow, or a hemangioma, like a liver blood cyst. Those are VEGF-induced masses. So is that going to translate to a colon cancer if you're taking oral BPC? Is that going to translate to a pancreatic mass, whatever it may be? That's the concern.
Okay. And so I was willing to sort of take that risk. And then with TB500, what this is again, like very like, I'm sort of winging it where I'm like,
everyone's winging it.
And we'll get into some things that are going to help people actually get data out there.
Yes.
But with TB500, I'm like, okay, if I do maybe twice a week, a few milligrams of this into there, it could potentially provide some of the similar benefits that BPC can. What are the differences potentially we know there?
So the very interesting thing is the way the cancer moves around the body actually is mimicking the way immune cells move around the body. What cells move around? Immune cells. And they're allowed to do that. Most cells just have to stay stagnant in their environment. The body's very good at controlling what moves and what doesn't. Now the thymus makes these peptides that can turn on immune cells, like thymosin alpha-1 and Thymulin, but also TB4. And that's part of a big fraction called thymosin fraction 5 that makes thymosin alpha-1 and thymosin beta-4. This helps cells reorganize their actin structure. Just like we have a skeleton, cells have a skeleton, and they need to reorganize that skeleton to roll around and move around the body. TB4 is part of that process that allows immune cells to come to the site of injury.
Gotcha.
So anytime you have an injury, the immune cells have to come in, they bring in the growth factors and the repair and the inflammation cascade happens. It's an immune-mediated process. So the thought is with TB4 is that this can help accelerate that process.
So if you're saying TB4, then what is when people buy TB500, what's going on?
TB500 is the 500 Dalton fragment of TB4, a certain amino acid fragment of it that is thought to do the majority of the movement effects.
Gotcha.
I still lean towards, based on my reading, that TB4 might be better.
Gotcha. Okay.
But TB5 is probably cheaper, so that's why the peptide. So like most of the peptide protocols are just whatever a research website came up with.
Yeah.
Or some of the OGs came up with, and they tried it out, and they stuck it on the wall, and that's what stuck. Like Wolverine compound. Someone named that, and that's what happened. But this is why we need to have good data, because theoretically, different injuries may respond better to BPC or TB500, or maybe get harmed by GHK copper.
Yeah.
Like we don't know what injury does what. And that's why I would like to illuminate that a little bit more so we can see what is the right recommendation for the right patient at the right time.
Yeah. And then my other thinking was doing some GHK-Cu. So I'm doing that as well. And my thinking there is when you look into a lot of how the ACL is going to rebuild, you see collagen organization there. And there's some also like wound healing aspects of GHK-Cu.
Yep.
And my thinking there is, okay, well, why don't I do a few milligrams of this, like every other night, doing a few milligrams. With GHK-Cu, what do we know about it? Have there been any human trials? Obviously, the topical stuff is like very safe to use, and we both use topical GHK-Cu. I love it.
Yep. Your skin looks great.
Thank you so much. Yours too.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's just like, that seems like kind of a no-brainer for me to use some topical GHK-Cu. Now there's interesting studies where they expose people to red light with various antioxidants. There's one with green tea antioxidants. That's why I made the matcha stick. I got to get you one of those things. It's cool. And then I would feel like if they did a study on the GHK-Cu with red light.
There is, I think there's some data there.
Nice.
On red light plus GHK, especially because the blue absorbs red. So it's a nice little synergy.
Yeah. And so it's like, put that on and stand in front of the red light. That seems extremely safe. Everybody can kind of go do that. Injecting GHK-Cu. Give us kind of your overview of that.
Injectable GHK-Cu, the reason that there's interest in it is because GHK-Cu is a naturally occurring tripeptide, technically a bioregulator that decreases with age. And the thought is that part of the reason that when you're younger, a wound heals so quickly, not only do you have more stem cells and better immune system, et cetera, you have higher levels of GHK-Cu because GHK-Cu, GHK specifically, is a fragment found in collagen itself. So type 1 collagen has GHK in its sequence. The idea is as collagen gets broken down, GHK gets released, which then signals to rebuild that collagen. With age, you get that breakdown. There have been studies where they will like cut open a mouse and then inject GHK and the wound will heal faster.
Yeah.
So that's where there's promise there. There haven't been any human trials on GHK.
And yeah, so my thinking is I'm like, well, you know, like if my body's trying to lay down type 1 collagen to regrow my ligament, why not blast some GHK-Cu?
Yep.
And I think that's the thinking of a lot of people out there with sort of that stack. And then the other thing that I got on through your advice was Tesamorelin.
Sure.
So Tesamorelin, describe to people what it does and why this is, I feel like, really helped me sort of recover, especially with all the rehab I'm doing. It's just a lot of fatiguing work. So what's up with that?
So we got some lab work and we looked at your IGF-1 levels and they were rather lower, let's say, for your age group, which has some longevity benefits. There's a debate, is IGF-1 good for longevity or not? That's a big
So
debate.
like maybe it starts to come down and increase lifespan.
Yes.
Dude, I'm not Brian Johnson, bro. I'm not trying to live forever. This is the thing, like with a lot of these things that we'll discuss, there's always this argument of, well, has God created this system where GHK-Cu, you know, for example, decreases, IGF-1 decreases, and this creates this longevity. Maybe your hormones decrease and it allows you to potentially, you know, in our development, maybe be more present as like a father, you know, like a lot of these things. Like there's a lot of evolutionary mechanisms for this. And then I guess the argument that we might never, we'll eventually know more about it, is if you ramp those things back up, are you going to decrease your lifespan? Now, does kind of appear to me that it increases your health span. And then so it gets in this argument of like, do I say I want to surf on my 100th birthday? I do think I will. Awesome. But like, do I care if I die after that wave? If I if I lived like a super healthy life? Like,
here's the problem. If you have great grandkids, you're going to be like, I want to live to see them grow up.
That's true.
That's the hard part.
Dude, by then we're going to have so much, you know.
Technology, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so
IGF-1, so what happens is there's something called somatopause. There's a couple of aging indicators that happen before puberty, after puberty, in your 20s, in your 30s, in your 40s that people don't talk about. Everyone talks about heart disease, brain disease, cancer. That happens 50 plus. But no one's talking about what happens to our generation. That's where we're zooming in. So menopause happens sometime between 30 and 40 for most people, where your pituitary makes less growth hormone. Therefore, less growth hormone hits your liver, less IGF-1 gets produced. You're insulin sensitive, so the insulin part isn't the problem. Your growth hormone probably decreased with the pituitary kind of involuting, atrophying with age. So our thought was, your IGF-1 isn't super high. Should we strategically use this FDA-approved medication to raise your IGF-1, monitor that closely to allow you to have a better recovery chance for your injury? And there's the debate: does growth hormone grow muscle? Does it not? Is it used with anabolic steroids, et cetera, et cetera? We don't have to get into that. The thought is more IGF-1 should be conducive to better healing, and that was a discussion we were willing to have, and that's why we use Tesamorelin. Tesamorelin is a peptide that was FDA approved for HIV patients with lipodystrophy. What ends up happening is when you have HIV, you get a bunch of visceral fat built up in the wrong areas, and then very little subcutaneous fat. Tesamorelin helps move that fat from visceral to subcutaneous, and they get better outcomes as a result. So we're using it off label to induce that heightened IGF-1 state.
And one of the interesting things I've noticed with it is probably better sleep score. It's hard to tell because I'm taking the Pinealon, which we'll get into. So, and then like, I mean, my sleep stack is dialed in lately. Yeah. And like, if I'm not traveling, if there's not like a lot going on, like my sleep is good and my readings are good. But why do these sort of growth hormone analogs help sleep?
So growth hormone is part of the deep sleep bolus that happens at the beginning of the night. So if you look at someone's sleep study, an ideal young healthy person, you'll notice a lot of deep sleep at the beginning of the night and then more REM sleep toward the end of the night. If someone is having more REM in the beginning and deep later, that's a sleep disorder. So it seems that the growth hormone pulse is part of that big deep sleep part. And by using the Tesamorelin, you're helping the pituitary pump out more growth hormone, which helps you get into that deeper sleep. The growth hormone also has regenerative effects on the brain, on the body, that will lead to better sleep.
And there are multiple studies on growth hormone helping injuries. So there's some cool ones that I'll send you. There is one on a group that got ACL surgery, ACL reconstruction, and one group was given HGH, one group was not, and the HGH group fared far better. So it makes sense that boosting that IGF-1 a little bit.
That's why there's a big debate in the field. Unfortunately, these kind of studies never get translated to the orthopedic societies.
Dude, with the BMAC that I got injected, you know, like it's a little frustrating where I went to one doctor and he's like, yeah, you know, there's just not enough research for us to do the BMAC and PRP into the ACL. I'm like, okay. And then I go home and I get on the computer and it's like, well, there's a clear study, BMAC into people that got ACL, better outcomes in the BMAC group. There's a case study on one person that was like a 31-year-old soccer player, full tear, and they went no surgery route and they got BMAC. I'm like, dude, this is like me, bro. Like same age group, like similar injury. Like what? Like it's frustrating, I guess, sometimes where a lot of doctors just want so much data to be able to do something, and you can quickly get left in the dust as a human being that just wants to heal properly and weigh the risks. Like this is America, bro. Like we're supposed to be able to weigh the risks of an activity on our own and then choose what to do. I can go buy alcohol from the store. So cigarettes. Like why can I not weigh the potential risk of something I want to put in my own body and then buy it if I want as an adult? I'm not talking about a kid, and do it. It's crazy.
We don't have a libertarian healthcare system.
We don't,
because that doctor that you're talking about has to think, okay, I'm going to do this procedure. I need insurance to cover the procedure. If the procedure doesn't work, insurance isn't going to cover it. I'm going to be out of a job. I can't pay for my Ferrari. I can't pay for my house payment. So that doctor now is thinking, I need to make the decision based on that. So I don't blame it necessarily on the doctors. I get it. Doctors mean well. You don't go into medicine and sacrifice your 20s. Because you don't want to help people. You clearly want to help people get better.
For sure.
The problem is you come into the system and the system consumes you. And you have to follow what insurance says and what the society say. And then you're worried about the medical board calling you. Like, why did you not? Like, let's say you were a care inpatient and you got the BMAC and you then got re-injured. And you're like, it's because of that doctor didn't offer me an ACL surgery. So now you complain to the California Board of Medicine and then that doctor loses their license. So that, as a doctor, that's what you're thinking about. And you're worried about that always.
That's why I paid that cash. That doctor
that's what I'm saying.
Cash, you know? And that's the thing.
I can't wait till cash pay ruins the insurance models because that's going to make a better doctor-patient relationship.
I think it's coming. I mean, you know, like a lot of people I know, like go down to Mexico to get stuff done. And like, they're just like, well, I could pay $500 here, or I could pay insurance every month and get worse service. And it's very difficult. And yeah, like with the whole knee thing, like we were talking about out there, is like surgery is a great option. And if I have to get surgery, I will. But there is like plenty of data that the ACL can regrow. And in the position that I'm in, where I'm able to spend a good amount of money on these unique things, money, like the BMAC, money, time, and effort. So if I was a pro athlete, I'd probably just get the surgery immediately, clear path to rehab, and you're back like in 9 months. You know, they're pretty good at them. Or if I, you know, had to work a job in construction, it's like you can't navigate that system being like, well, let me try a no surgery rehab. And so in the United States, what's really interesting is with no surgery rehab for ACL, we have two groups. One where they say they don't want surgery and they get no physical therapy, because the way the world is, if you go to your doctor and you go, no, I don't want the surgery, you're not then going to get insurance covered PT.
Really? They don't cover it?
It's extremely difficult. So like the insurance system sucks, as you know.
It does.
And you have to say the right things. You have to navigate.
And they only give you one visit a week for 12 weeks. I've been through it.
And the PT sucks. And if you get surgery, you're given a PT protocol.
But it's also 45 minutes once a week. Like, you think like Klay Thompson towards ACL and his Achilles, you think he was doing PT once a week? He was doing PT twice a day, probably.
Traveling with PTs.
Yeah, exactly.
And, like it's.
They wouldn't even allow me to schedule one till 6 weeks after my surgery. But
No way.
I scheduled my, out of net.
Yeah, out of pocket.
Yeah.
That's the way it's
That's
going.
why we don't get good health outcomes in this country.
Yeah. And so I'm like, all right, let me use myself as an experiment. And this stuff is expensive. Peptides are actually pretty affordable.
Yeah.
Which is
they're about to get a lot more affordable.
They're about to get a lot more affordable. Let's get into that. So where are we at with peptides? Like, like you have people selling them online. You have compounding.
Mm-hmm.
Can you kind of describe the landscape as it stands today and where it's kind of heading?
Yep. So to break that down at a high level view, there's pharma grade, there's compounded grade, and there's research grade. The GLP-1s are existing on all three levels. There's pharma grade GLP-1 that you get from Novo Nordisk, Eli Lilly, Penn. You can get compounded GLP-1, which is becoming harder to get now, from a compound pharmacy from a physician prescription, or you can get research grade, which could be terrible, good quality. We don't know. That's a whole different conversation. Now, the rest of the peptides that aren't FDA approved are either in the research grade or they're in the compound grade.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in 2023, 2024, the FDA moved a lot of these peptides that were being prescribed by doctors off-label, or actually without a label because they're not FDA approved, to patients from about 2017 to 2023 for these anti-aging functional medicine practices.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in 2023, the FDA said these are dangerous. You should no longer do this. So they put it on a Category 2 ban list, which made it so that doctors could not prescribe this, although a lot of compounding pharmacies still provide them. A lot of doctors still do prescribe them with various degree of risk to their licenses, depending on what state. And they now have these peptides in this ban list. So the RFK, FDA, Health and Human Services Administration has taken them off the Category 2 list. Now, 7 of these peptides are going to be discussed next month in July to see if they can be moved onto a Category 1 list, which would allow a compound pharmacy to make them and allow you to get it prescribed from a doctor.
Gotcha.
But they were still not FDA approved. FDA is going to look the other way. Now, will medical boards allow that? We don't know. That's the big question. Also, legally, we need lawyers to kind of weigh in on. But there's 7 peptides: BPC, TB500, Cmax. A lot of these are on the list. Epitalon's on the list to get moved. So we're now collecting the data.
Yes.
We'll talk about that. Any1.study is a little project we're launching. We want to move the peptide conversation forward. Everyone's like, there's no data, there's no data, there's no data. We want to get the data. So there's thousands of people that have got anecdotes about BPC. I'm one of them. You're one of them. He's one of them. We're all anecdotes. Yeah. We all have run our own N of 1 independent trial. We should be able to group all these N of 1 trials together and be able to say, you know what, 30,000 people have tried BPC. X% have experienced this, Y% have had this bad side effect, this, and actually move the conversation forward. And then that can inform now other research groups like, hey, there's been 100,000 use cases of BPC. This is what we should study, this is what we should look at.
And so people can go on this website and basically just talk about their own personal experience with different compounds that they've used. And how does that actually like translate into getting like studies done? You know what I mean? Like,
we're launching an IRB. So we're going to be able to publish retroactive studies on these independent case reports.
Gotcha.
So our idea is now to publish this out, then give that data to actually high quality research groups to translate that data into an actual randomized clinical placebo-controlled trial.
Nice.
So that's the goal. The goal is also to allow people to do their own N of 1 trial. Like you're doing your ACL protocol. Yeah. It'd be great if you could go on, be like, hey, Brendan is doing this, this, and this. Yeah. And you'd be like, and you're following along, you're getting updates every week. Yep. So you can kind of see what's going on and be like, hey, that can inform what you may or may not want to do for yourself.
For sure. Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. That needs to get done because
it launches ASAP. So
nice. I'm excited for that. So where is this all going to go potentially in the next like year? Like, are people going to be able to access these peptides that we're discussing on the show today, or is it going to continue to be sort of this gray area?
Yeah. So the peptides, if in the July meeting goes as we expect it to go, the majority of these peptides are going to be moved onto the Category 1 list, which allow you to get a prescription from a physician for these peptides.
Nice.
That doesn't allow you to go legally get a research use only. Not everyone's still going to use the research use only products
because they're more affordable for them. And then so I saw a guy independently go test like 12 research use only peptides, and he said all 12 of them were good, and he was kind of surprised. I know you've probably seen that video. Like, they're going to be. Why was that?
They're going to be good when having the actual product if they're made by an honest company. The thing is, whether it's a compound pharmacy or a research lab, what does the situation look like in the room that they bottled this peptide? Like,
yeah.
Is it in like one of these rooms where like there's
Yeah.
mold and who knows? I mean, not that there's mold.
No,
here,
there
but
probably
like,
is.
Yeah,
We're right near the beach.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Like, is it a moldy room that
Yeah.
they package this
Somebody's
in,
bathtub,
or
yeah.
actually, yeah, exactly, or an actual lab where they do like some common pharmacies? If you walked in, you'd be shocked at how bad it is.
Yeah.
Like complete trash, like worse than some of the research sites.
Yeah.
So we need some quality control to allow this to happen, because if it keeps getting shady and people just kind of cut corners, it's going to ruin it for everybody else.
For sure.
Now, what's going to happen, especially after the Human podcast, is that everyone's been reaching out to me like, we want to do this right telemedicine wise, and we want to bring peptides to the world safely and effectively. If they get moved to that category 1 list, you're going to see people put them on these telemedicine websites, and they're going to be probably cheaper than the research grade, because peptides aren't that expensive. Like people have made like 300%, 400% markup on peptides. They're going to be a lot cheaper very soon.
Yeah. And so basically you should be able to eventually go consult with a doctor, tell them your issue, and they will prescribe you peptides, and they'll get shipped right to your door.
Yep.
That'd be great.
That's the future that's coming. Now, hopefully that legally happens. Now, what I'd like to see happen, so I can honestly have a conversation with the patient, is have the data first. So like these groups that are going to do the studies are going to help us push that forward, and see if there's a safety signal, at least to be like, okay, this is safe. Because like I'm willing to experiment on myself, but am I willing to go take a 65-year-old grandma that just had knee replacement and give her BPC? We don't know the risks. We don't know if she has cancer or not. Like it's a big risk
for sure
on both me as a licensed practitioner, but also like ethically, like can I sleep at night?
Yeah, totally.
Doing that.
And I want this to lead into our next conversation on Retatrutide.
Yeah.
Because Retatrutide is one of the most popular things sweeping the nation right now.
Probably the most popular peptide.
My wife is working out a lot lately. She's running, and she doesn't want to do Red at all, but she jokingly will say, like, just inject me with Retatrutide. You know what I mean? Because she's like, eating right and everything. We're going with Dr. Andra. She's dialed in right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And we have a few weddings to go to in July and this summer. So
good.
she's like, I'm like, but that joke, millions of people are saying this joke, and millions of people are also going, you know what? I'm just going to do it. So I see one issue that I want to talk about a lot, which is there are many people who are relatively lean getting on Reta to lean out even more. I want you to get into that, and then I want you to get into overall what Retatrutide is.
Sure.
And just about Retatrutide.
Retatrutide is the next generation in this trend of GLP-1 medications. What's happening now is with time, we're getting GLP-1 upgrades. They're getting into a Avengers-like team. You get GLP-1 and GIP. That's your tirzepatide. And now Retatrutide has a GLP-1 feature, a GIP feature, and a glucagon feature. Now, glucagon has been known about for many years in the actual research about its positive effects on lipid management, on cardiometabolic health. The problem is it would cause weight gain. Now, when you combine it in the Reta with the GLP and the GIP and the glucagon, you usually get weight loss and crazy changes in cardiometabolic markers, lipids, cholesterol, like heart disease risks change dramatically. So Reta is very effective. It's currently in phase 3 trials that look very promising. It seems to be either as effective as tirzepatide or more, depending on the dosage that you're going to use. The people like it because it has way less side effects. So if anyone who's been on Ozempic, semaglutide, they'll be like, I'm nauseous for forever and I'm miserable and I hate it. Tirzepatide had less, and now glucagon has less side effects. It also seems to not only decrease the amount you eat, it seems to increase metabolic rate through the glucagon aspect.
Yeah.
So people will notice like they eat more sometimes and they're still losing weight, especially if you pair it with a high carb diet.
Yeah.
So very popular. Bodybuilders are doing it to bulk. It can,
Interesting.
because when bodybuilder bulk, they're on GH, they get a little bit insulin resistant. They use the Retatrutide to shuttle more nutrients into the muscle instead of into the fat cells. So you get a little bit better insulin profile there. So Retatrutide is going to be very popular, probably the best-selling drug that will ever come out. Wow. The weird part is this is the first drug where there are more anecdotal reports about it than actual research data sets.
Yeah.
Because millions of people have already used Reta through a med spa, through a research website, and we're going to see what happens. Now, Eli Lilly is fighting tooth and nail to stop this. So they want to make it into a biologic drug instead of actual, just a peptide GLP-1 so that people can't compound it and they can have the patents on it for longer.
Interesting. So now I'm going to kind of rapid fire about Reta just because I feel like it'll help people. Titrating the dosage up. You see some people are just like, well, I'm just going to microdose Reta. Is that like a valid strategy, or do results only come at like a few milligrams per week.
So the research phase 3 trials are 1 milligram plus. The interesting thing that's happened, because there's more anecdotal data than actual data, is people are using microdoses to actually just increase metabolic rate without having that much appetite suppression and have positive effects. At least that's anecdotally what's reported in the biohacking community. So that's what people are expecting.
Pregnancy risk, because I know a lot of women are using this, like using it right before you get pregnant, during pregnancy. Is there any information on that? We have nothing?
There's a lot of Ozempic babies, because what happens is if you're obese and leptin resistant, losing weight will make you more fertile. So a lot of people accidentally get pregnant when they're on these drugs. We do not have clear data. There's some reports about the risks. We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be worried. I wouldn't want to be born on Retta, right? So, because the GLP-1 receptors are expressed on the pancreas, on the thyroid, in many places. So we don't know what that changes, or brain development. Because the big effect that people are reporting on Retta is, I don't drink anymore. I mean, people will be like, they don't drink anymore, alcohol. They don't want to smoke anymore. They quit other habits. So how does that affect the developing fetal brain? I don't know.
Yeah. And then sort of this thing that a lot of people are doing where they use it for a little bit and they stop using it, sort of a yo-yo motion of it of, I'm going to, Spain and I want to use it.
That's probably not healthy.
Shout out Daddy Wellness. I think he parties a bunch. And then he was traveling, partying a bunch. And
is he back from Asia yet?
Yeah, he's back. And he's like, oh, wait, I need to get on. Yeah, the World Cup. He's like, I'm starting right after this World Cup game. So getting on it and off it, is there any data on that?
We don't know. So here's the interesting thing. Most of the GLP-1 medications, there's been a good amount of people that once you stop them, they will have a rebound in their weight. Some people don't. It's it's person dependent. We have to maybe look at the genetics of the GLP-1 receptor itself to see what's going on there. But the majority of people, the way to think about it is your brain calculates every day what my weight should be. It tells you go eat or not be hungry. The GLP-1 changes that mental calculation. If you take off the GLP-1 and go back to your old lifestyle, where the integration of those signals says get fatter.
Yeah.
I'm blue light toxic. I'm eating at night. I'm eating junk food. I'm not working out. I'm not sleeping well. Then the signal is going to go back to gaining weight. It's that simple.
Wow, that's really interesting. So now I want to get into some of these. Dr. Cavinson, is that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I've been taking Pinealon and Epitalon.
Yep.
Is that proper pronunciation?
Epitalon. I don't know how to say it.
So talk to me about these and that new one that you got. I'm excited to try that. So talk to me about these. These are the Bio-Regulators. Fire. Because I see, I've been doing the same sleep protocol for a long time, which is I'll take 1 to 2 of our sleep caps, depending on
magnesium
so I take the magnesium separately, and the sleep caps are passion flower, L-theanine, valerian, and lemon balm.
Also the GABA combination.
Exactly, and that works amazing for me. I'm pretty high wound up, you know what I mean? And so at night, take those, and I get great sleep with that protocol. The most important thing, guys, is darkness. It needs to be dark.
Circadian
you
rhythm.
Need to dial in your circadian rhythm. I'm going to have Zahid here, and we're going to get people dialed in with that. I was trying to find a dermatologist to debate him. Nobody wants that smoke. There's all these people on Instagram, why don't you want it? You smother yourself in chemical sunscreen before you have the umbrella. You do all this shit. And so it's go talk to Zahid. Let's hear it. But the problem is the only way they can ever fucking phrase it when they stitch one of our slideshows or one of our videos where I'm like, hey, the sun is good, is they phrase it as, oh, this dude's saying to bake in the sun from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m.
No nuance.
No one is fucking saying that. We're saying get intelligent sun exposure, which is you say the same thing. It's going to vary for different people. Joe, who you met, that's going to be he's pale. He's less sun.
Much less.
Yeah, you and I can get a little more. I got too much jet skiing, all of it. It's then there's times where I'm like, I need to cover up or throw on a sun block, which is non-nano zinc. It's going to reflect the sun. I'm not a big fan of the chemical sunscreens. Those poison the fish. It's pretty clear.
And I mean, you could get sun on your body and protect your face if you're worried about photo aging. So there's ways to be nuanced about it. And I don't think Zaid's even a radical bake in the sun for 10 hours a day.
No, but the people force him into that because it's the only rational argument they can have against that, because there's so much data that intelligent sunlight exposure is just good.
Yep.
And they even concede, we'll get it in the morning and evening. So what are you saying here? So you're saying it's beneficial, but don't go out at 2 p.m.? What are we talking about? So that's a whole other sidebar. But what I wanted to get into is some of those.
The Cavinson side. So the Bio-Regulators.
Who was this dude? Okay, there was a dude in Russia doing what? Grinding up organs and injecting them into people? Who is this guy?
Let's break down the whole story, because I think it's one of the most interesting stories in medicine, because it forces us actually to have to rewrite biology books if he's correct.
Okay.
So Dr. Vladimir Cavinson is this Soviet researcher working in the military. in the 70s, the Soviets are thinking the Americans are going to use laser weapons to shoot our soldiers in the eyes, damage their eyes. They're noticing that their pilots, their astronauts, and their submarine crew are getting ill.
Yes.
They age faster because certain systems break down in their bodies. Their circadian system breaks down. Their immune system breaks down. They get sick. Often they get cancers early, all these kind of things. So they task Dr. Cavinson with solving this problem. Dr. Cavinson looks at some of the data from that's been going on in Europe for about 100 years at the time of using extracts from animals of different organs to repair a problem. For example, they would notice people are hypothyroid and they'd inject them with a thyroid gland mix and that would treat the disease. He had some data sets, so everyone's building off the previous generation. So Dr. Cavinson knows that there's people injecting pineal glands with good results, injecting thymuses with good results. Now,
how does that even work? They're taking a thymus from an animal,
grinding it up,
and injecting it into the body.
Yep. Cool. There was a kind of a quack researcher that would take testicles from monkeys and stitch it onto people and be like, oh, this is the vitality secret, like a testicle transplant from monkey to human. So that was
fascinating.
It's an interesting little.
And so this guy has a lot of resources. He's in Russia, and there are no regulations. He's allowed to just kind of have fun.
I mean, and
you can't even say no. You're one of these soldiers in Russia. They're like, hey, Dr. Cavinson's coming in. He's running. There's no. Oh no, my medical freedom.
Yes. No. So it's like, so that just do this. Okay, but so he injects them with the pineal gland extract and the thymus extract. And we should talk about why that's so important. And he gets these people to kind of de-age or stop this premature aging that's happening.
Interesting.
Why is this important? Breaking down the circadian rhythm can accelerate the aging process.
Yeah.
And this is the part that medicine's missing, everyone's missing. And that's why like Zaid and I and all these circadian pro people like yourself are pushing the circadian rhythm onto people, because if you remove the pineal gland from a young animal, you guarantee that they will die of immunological disease early on.
Is this why cancer is spiking in young people? Like we have cooked our circadian rhythm, and it is the easiest thing to fix because it is free.
It's the hardest thing to fix because it is free and it requires time changing your life.
Yeah, it requires effort, but it's
because the modern world is not circadian friendly.
Yes, it's not. But you can make your home circadian friendly. It's not that difficult to do. It's low cost.
So we've actually created an app to help people fix their circadian rhythms. Calibrate.day.
Calibrate.day.
It's not like a radical thing. Like you have to wake up at 5 a.m. At 9. It's literally like you tell it what you like, how you live your life. It tells you like get this light for free from sun, or if you don't have a sun, get this device. This is good, better, best. It helps you make your decisions on your life. So that's a way for people for free. Calibrate.day is free. You can kind of change your life in a more circadian friendly way.
Yeah, it's like, dude, I live a pretty normal. We were playing video games last night late. We were playing this game, Ready or Not. We're like a SWAT team. Nice. Albert does a lot of friendly fire in that. I'll say that. Yeah, he always says they're crossing. I don't know about that, but so I throw on the blue light blockers. Like, just make more intelligent decisions for your circadian rhythm. So many people are looking at all these peptides that we're talking about, and there's kids doing HGH and gear, and it's like you would get a spike in your IGF-1 and your testosterone if you just did simple things. So, like, if I'm going to play video games at night, I do throw on the blue light blockers. Right. And then, like, just little things. I'm going to shower at night. Let me not turn the fucking lights on. Let me just light a candle.
I mean, I change my bathroom lights are either incandescents or the red lights.
Yeah, in my bedroom, it's just like, Huga lights, and there's other companies that make good ones. Was it RA Optics sent me this cool light that we now have in the laundry room where you like hit it once and it's like, So that's super easy. So basically this guy's injecting this stuff, which is sort of fixing their circadian rhythm in a way.
Like if you're an astronaut, your circadian rhythm gets destroyed. If you're a pilot, your thymus gets destroyed. So that the whole concept is, if we were to map out your aging across your life, your pineal gland ages right before puberty. That actually might be the trigger for puberty. Because melatonin production stops puberty. And in kids that have pineal cysts go into puberty earlier. So the pineal gland drops, your melatonin production dramatically decreases by age 30. From like 10 to 30, it's a big drop off. So that ages first. The next thing that ages right after puberty is the thymus. The puberty hormones shrink the thymus like no other, which allows you to now, theories of why does the thymus shrink? It's probably to allow you to get pregnant. Because if the thymus doesn't shrink, the mother's immune system would attack the baby.
And the thymus is located somewhere
right in the chest,
right around here, and it's a gland that's how big? Like
when you're a baby, it's probably like this big.
Wow, and then it
starts
to
you
shrink.
Probably have little micro pieces of it left over in the fat.
And so why in men does it go away?
Well, because we have the same system.
Yeah,
and potentially it could be in like that's the big question. Why is the thymus involute? Like Actually, it was the only question I missed on the MCAT. It was what organ shrinks after puberty?
Interesting.
I didn't take it. I
Thymus,
didn't know what thymus was at the time, so I was like 20 years old.
Yeah.
It shrinks after puberty to allow maybe fertility, maybe to allow other things to happen in development. We're not sure, but it shrinks dramatically from, let's say, age 14. And by 40, you have barely any left.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they found that there's a new Nature study that came out in 2026. The bigger your thymus is in age, the less risk of cardiovascular disease, cancer risk, all these things decrease, the better your thymus health
Dude,
is.
let's grow my thymus.
So, do you ever Prenuvo?
Yeah.
I
did Prenuvo. I did it like 5 years ago. So I got to do another one.
We made a little program to measure your thymus off of
Nice.
Prenuvo, so we'll measure yours today.
Okay, nice.
That's
really cool.
Like, for example, my dad's very healthy.
Mm-hmm.
God bless. He has a big thymus.
Nice.
And we were assuming that may be the cause of his health. Like, he has higher testosterone than almost every one of my friends.
Yeah.
And there's a big testosterone thymus axis we can go into. But the idea is these organ systems peter out early. So the pineal gland, thymus, pituitary, and the growth hormone.
Mm-hmm.
The adrenals stop producing as much DHEA, which is important for the thymus.
Mm-hmm.
And then your gonads shrink by 40, 50. So that's either menopause or andropause.
Mm-hmm.
That's your first 50 years of your life.
Yep.
And what our strategy, especially for me and you at this generation, is to slow this process down, keep the pineal healthy, keep the thymus healthy, pituitary, adrenals, and the gonads for as long as possible.
And so this doctor's injecting this stuff, and he's seeing good results.
And here's what Dr. Cavett, this is the genius.
Because
Because
there's like some of these research companies have like 50, and it's like something for everything. It's like Cartilix.
Yep.
Yeah, so like, yeah. A common question I get asked is, where do I find reliable, high quality stuff like BPC, TB500, GHK-Cu, and many of the other things discussed on today's show? The reality of the situation is the best thing you could do is go get a consult from a doctor, someone like a Dr. Abood or a Dr. Mossy, and then get prescribed these things. That is the best option. It is way too expensive for most people to do. And if you are going to go the research route, you need to find a company that is triple lab tested. They should have their COAs available. I use Cellvita Research. I've been using their BPC, their TB500, their GHK-Cu, and their oral BPC pills. They also have amazing GHK-Cu topicals. So if you want to try out Cellvita, you can use the code Santa Cruz over there, or find a good doctor that can write you a prescription for these things. As we discussed in this episode, it's just sort of in limbo. It's a bit difficult to do, but I get this question a lot, so there you go.
Dr. Cavinson's genius is people have been injecting these things, but Dr. Cavinson goes a step further. He's like, why are these things working? So what Dr. Cavinson finds out is that these micro small peptides. So BPC is 15 amino acids, bread has 39. These are longer peptide chains. Insulin's way longer. He finds these 2 to 4 amino acid chains of peptides that seem to have an autoregulatory process, kind of like GHK. He even said that if I discovered GHK, I would have called it Bio-Regulator.
Interesting, yeah.
So Dr. Cavinson says, okay, why are these things working? Okay, it must be because of these peptides. So then he took the peptides independently. So instead of injecting the pineal gland extract, he would inject just Epitalon, which was the main bioregulator found in the pineal gland. And he would have the similar effects. So then he
isolated what is actually working in these organs. So with the ancestral health bridge here, like forever, they've said, eat liver to support your liver.
Which sounded kooky. And if you had told me that during medical school, I'd be like, okay, you're a quack.
But then when you look at the nutrition profile of some of these organs, it heart has a lot of CoQ10. And then you look at now, it's well accepted that CoQ10 is a good thing to take for your heart for most people. For mitochondrial.
The cardiologist in the hospital gives that to every single patient.
So they were right. Like eating organs, animal organs. If you eat animal organs, you get peptides.
That's been known since like 1850. Because there's Dr. Vladimir Gulovich, he's another Russian guy. He found carnosine in muscle. So the idea is that you eat muscle meat, you get some carnosine, which gives you the positive effects for muscle mass.
Yeah.
So every organ has a bioregulator that regulates that organ. So the thing is, if you take biology 101, you learn that DNA gets translated into RNA. DNA gets transcribed into RNA and then translated into protein, right? That's the central dogma of biology is DNA, RNA, protein. Dr. Cavinson says there's another part of this circle. It's DNA, RNA, protein. Proteins get broken down into these peptides, and these peptides go back to the DNA and then re-regulate the DNA.
Interesting.
So not only does Dr. Cavinson figure out these peptides are what are driving the organ effects, then he figures out how are they working. And then he maps out that they bind into the grooves of the DNA at certain promoter regions to make the DNA more accessible for the transcription factors. So for example, Epitalon will increase the gene that makes melatonin production. So the conversion of serotonin to acetylserotonin to melatonin gets increased by Epitalon, which decreases with age.
Interesting. Do you think they were giving these to some of these Russian athletes? Like we see some of these guys.
Yeah,
like
there's videos on YouTube talking about it. Like the gymnastic team in Russia was like, we've been on Kevin Vincent's protocol. We get sick less because we use his thymus injection. We have better sleep. All these things.
So when these Chechnyan athletes and Russian athletes are, involved with like training with like, Roman Kopylov and these guys, they're probably also potentially allegedly meeting with doctors that might allegedly have them on some of these protocols.
So more so than just the Kavinsky protocols. Like for example, if we look at Islam Makhachev got popped for meldonium, which is a very interesting Russian drug that increases cardio output by forcing you to use carbs instead of fat for fuel.
Interesting.
It never got approved here in the FDA, but it's a very popular performance enhancing drug.
Yeah.
And he got popped for that. So there's a lot of, the way to think about it is the American system was designed from a pharmaceutical strategy to generate profits. We're a capitalistic society and we generate profits. The Soviet system was designed for performance. Because what do they want to do? They want to dunk on America.
Yeah.
They want better athletes, better astronauts. They want to win the Olympics, all these kind of things. So their strategy was very different. So they made a lot of performance enhancing compounds, bromantane, meldonium, Bamitil, Phenibut, all these different, the racetams all came out of this era of research. The unfortunate part is when the Soviet Union falls in 91, Kavinsky loses a lot of his funding.
Yeah.
So, because the interesting thing about these bioregulators, the Kavinsky ones, they were never drugs mostly. They were mostly over-the-counter supplements. Like you can go to Kazakhstan, probably get Pinealon over-the-counter in the pharmacy there.
Interesting.
But he did also make like 6 main drugs and some other ones off the market. But they were FDA approved, or whatever the Russian FDA is, approved for certain diseases. Like he had a retina extract for retina diseases. And that has like the best data of all of the peptides.
Interesting. So these 3 right here. So like
Epitalon is my friend's company that does good stuff.
Like when do you take them and in what dosages, I guess I could say.
The way I think about this is let's start with Epitalon. I think circadian rhythm health is very important. You should dial in your circadian rhythm. And then Epitalon seems to accelerate that circadian calibration process. There's been studies on humans with Epitalon where it increases the circadian genes in the cells, but also increases morning cortisol and then increases nighttime melatonin.
Which you want.
Yes, you want a if you get a Dutch test, you can notice very high cortisol in the morning, lower at night, and then very high melatonin and very low midday. Because of the lack of proper circadian lighting, you get this process broken. Epitalon seems to buffer against this and or accelerate the process of adaptation. So it's a very nice tool there. Because of the importance of melatonin on regulating the genome and regulating the mitochondrial health, it seems that Epitalon has potential longevity benefits as well. So Dr. Kavinsky ran a 15-year study injecting nursing home patients with Epitalon, which is the pineal gland extract that has Epitalon, and Pinealon, which is the thymus gland extract, which has many different peptides in it. And they noticed almost a 2.4x reduction in mortality in the group that got the peptides.
Wow.
Over 15 years.
That's huge.
Yes.
And so these are orally available. And so like what?
Some of them are.
Some of them are.
Not all of them. We've tested maybe 20, 30 of these Kavinsky peptides. There's a guy on YouTube who has a great channel who goes in, his name is Brendan Henry, does great work on this. So shout out to him for a lot of the work he's done. But Epitalon seems to have different effects orally versus injectable.
Gotcha.
Pinealon seems to be very orally available and has about equivalent effects. Phylon's are orally available. There's Visuogen, Cartilax, Pancreagen, Cardiogen, Bronchogen, Conlutin. There's a million of them that we're testing out to see like what actually works. And we have a little rat group that tests out these different compounds and then gets labs and sees like, did this improve, did this change? The Epitalon seems to help with your sleep scores. So if you have Oura Ring or a Whoop, you'll notice better deep sleep, more HRV. Pinealon is not from the pineal gland, although it says pinealon. I don't know why they named it wrong. It is from the cortex, the brain cortex. So there's the cortical structures and the subcortical structures of the brain. Pinealon is found in the cortex extract. So there's a drug in Russia called Cortexin. It's used for like TBIs and different brain conditions. And they found Pinealon in there to cause most of the beneficial effects.
Okay.
So Pinealon is orally available and it works to make neurons metabolically better is the best way to explain it.
And what dosage do you take of these and when?
So the Epitalon is an interesting one because the injectable studies, they use epithylamine at 10 milligrams. So everyone's like, oh, you have to do 10 milligrams of Epitalon. In that epithylamine mix, there's probably between 100 micrograms to maybe a milligram of Epitalon in there. They would run 10-day cycles every 2 to 4 months.
Gotcha. Okay.
Or 3 to 4 months, let's say. So the cool part about these bioregulators is you take them and the effects linger on afterwards. So that's how they've been studied. So Epitalon, you could theoretically do an injectable course because it's going to be discussed in July here for moving it to category 1. So it can be prescribed. You would do a, let's say, 0.5 milligram to 1 milligram course every year under the auspice, under the supervision of a doctor. That would be an interesting use case. Now, the oral Epitalon, they have to dose it higher because it's less orally available than injectable. So we're talking about 3 to 6 to up to 10 milligrams orally. That will cause, it seems to change the gut clocks. Just like you have a circadian rhythm in your brain, you have a circadian rhythm in your gut. Every organ, every cell really has its own rhythm. And the more in sync all those are, the better outcomes you'll have for health.
Yeah. And so you like to take it at night?
I take my Epitalon in the morning.
In the morning. Okay.
If you take a too high a dose at night, it seems to have a little bit of more stimulatory effect.
Yeah.
But it really doesn't matter because you're trying to get the 24-hour cycle to improve. But I take Epitalon in the morning, and I'll run a course of it, and then I'll have good sleep. And then if I notice my sleep scores or I travel or whatever get worse, I'll bring it back on board.
And how many weeks do you take it for?
The oral, I'll run it for 3 to 4 weeks, and then take a break from it. And then if I notice my HRV dropping off or my deep sleep's not as good, I'll bring it back on board.
And Pinealon, same thing? Do you take it in the morning or in the evening?
Pinealon is interesting because you could do it many different ways. It depends on your baseline state. So if you have, what we've noticed anecdotally is if someone has a lot of brain inflammation and they take Pinealon, they get very sleepy and they'll end up sleeping 10 hours straight.
Damn.
Some people, it will be disruptive of their sleep. They'll sleep and they'll wake up after 2 hours and they'll be wide awake. So it's very context dependent because it depends which genes it's activating, where your baseline is.
Yeah.
So I tell people, try it out. Take it 3 hours before bed on an empty stomach. If it makes you feel sleepy, that's a nighttime driver for you. If it makes you wake up, it's a morning driver.
Gotcha. And this new one, can you throw me this new one? Let me see this one. Yeah, because I haven't tried this one. And this is my protocol?
Yes, your protocol.
Your protocol.
Yeah.
Your protocol. Code what? Abood?
Yeah, I think code Abood works for that one.
And so, Vilon?
Vilon is one of the thymus bioregulators.
Oh, let's go. See, we're going to make my thymus.
Yes.
We're going to preserve it.
So what we're doing is we're looking at everyone's pernuvos, looking at the thymus before and after to see what grows the thymus and what doesn't.
Nice.
There's a big study from a group chaired by Dr. Greg Fahey where they're using growth hormone, growth hormone, DHEA, and metformin to regrow the thymus.
Interesting.
We want to add melatonin. That's a different conversation. But that stack seems to be pro-thymus. Now, Vilon is very interesting because its chain is KE. It's list glue. That is found both in thymosin alpha-1 and in thymosin beta-4. I think Vilon's in thymosin beta-4 either 2 or 3 times in the chain. So it seems that, just like Kevin's predicted, the body, the DNA, RNA, you make TA1, TB4, those get broken down. Vilon gets released and then goes to the DNA and re-signals the production of them.
And how many milligrams of this do you like to... So if a capsular is a milligram.
Yeah, so Kevin studied it up to 10, 20 milligrams per day orally, but it has effects as low as 100 micrograms.
And you like to do that...
Pre-workout?
Pre-workout?
So interestingly,
so before I lift today, we'll pop some of this?
Yeah, we'll try it out. We'll document our little journey. But I've been taking it pre-workout. It increases my drive in the gym and the recovery is much better.
Nice.
So because the immune system kind of modulates your performance.
Yeah. So
that's why no matter what, being younger, you're going to have better performance than when you're older. It's the reality.
And now I want to touch on some mitochondrial health stuff because this is more just in the supplement side of things. And I want to get into some of the peptides here as well. But we've been working on formulating a mitochondrial VO2 max support supplement because I've been taking stuff like CoQ10, urolithin A, cordyceps, various things. Ginseng. I've just been experimenting with a bunch of different things. PQQ.
Did your MitoMe test?
Yeah. And so some of those things, I just feel and then I've had other athlete friends tell me the same thing. They're just we had this guy, Ian Dobby, he was talking about MOTS-C specifically, but also just, these mitochondrial supplements basically you can get. And he's like, I don't get tired the same. And that statement right there is a very, I'm like, dude, yeah, that, you get tired, your body doesn't become some super athlete that can just go on an assault bike for an hour. But I get tired differently now. I swear it's just different where that, get on the assault bike and 15, 20 minutes in, you're just okay, yeah, I'm feeling it. It feels different. What is potentially going on there with some of this mitochondrial support and why do I not feel as tired during my workouts?
So with aging, you have something called the heteroplasmy rate. There's a percentage of mitochondria that don't function as well as you were born with. So the healthier your mom was when she was pregnant with you, the better mitochondria you get given to you because that egg that your mom becomes in your mom becomes you, has those mitochondria in there. Those mitochondria get donated to you, so you get them from mom. And then those now will last you the rest of your life. They'll divide and become the mitochondrial pool that you have. The healthier they were then, the healthier you're going to be going forward. With every decade, those decrease in function and number and quality. Now, the idea is, how can we get mitochondria at every step of mitochondrial energy production to be more efficient, more effective, less ROS production, and to kind of unleash that? There's a number of products, like CoQ10 helps between complex 2 and complex 3 of the mitochondria to transport electrons. The better that transport process happens, the more energy production that's going to happen, the less hypoxia is going to happen. So the idea is, how can we generate a protocol that's individualized to get maximum mitochondrial output so that you can support the energy needs? Because once the mitochondria get hypoxic, you get anaerobic, you make H+, lactate, all that cascade happens, and then you become sore and your production decreases. So, and I think the problem is we need better mitochondrial testing. There's some cool companies like Mitomine, not affiliated, but they do cool testing to kind of see, hey, you have a bottleneck.
We did that. It was cool. It was like a swab. Yes. It was pretty easy. It's expensive for most people. Like it was like $600 or something like that. And but I was stoked to see, like, it's like, oh, like this complex good, this complex good. Ooh, like this complex could use more work. And then like this complex has like a lot of potential, which is good, but we're not like activating it. It was a whole thing that you and I went into. And then it's like, oh, like this B vitamin might help you. And then some of these compounds like we talked about. So yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah. So the goal is to unlock mitochondrial production. The other problem is in my mind, shout out to Ray Pete, the key mitochondrial regulator is thyroid production, and most people aren't producing enough thyroid hormone. It's gonna be controversial to many endocrinologists, but most people's free T3 isn't as ideal as it could be, I think. That's gonna be a controversial statement, but that's neither here nor there. And then people don't have enough melatonin to do the mitochondrial repair every night. So melatonin gets produced both at nighttime as a systemic kind of washout, but daily under the influence of red light, the mitochondria will produce melatonin to have an auto repair effect. Most people don't have red light exposure. Like right now, we are starved of any infrared
We're cooked
radiation.
right now. We got to go outside right after this.
Yeah, so we're going to get outside after this and get infrared radiation to get our mitochondria to produce melatonin to have auto repair locally.
What's the best time, in your opinion, to do red light? If somebody has a red light panel?
To be more biologically accurate, do it in the morning. Because that's when you're going to get red light exposure, like sun.
Yeah.
And I think there was a researcher that said that red light works much better in the morning. I have to double click on that, but I think that's the leading answer nowadays. And we can be corrected if we're wrong. But
yeah. And then also with this melatonin thing, so like, should people just be taking much melatonin?
No, I think people should try to maximize their natural melatonin production. Now, the interesting thing we've been playing around with is mega doses of melatonin before you'd be in a mitochondrial depleted state. For example, there's a study where they gave people melatonin before they got in a CT scanner. The radiation from the CT can be negative to mitochondrial health and other cellular health. They noticed that when given the melatonin, they had less markers of radiation damage.
Interesting.
So now my habit is I take a big dose of melatonin before a flight.
Yeah.
And after.
Yeah.
With my Epitalon.
So when I get my next MRI, should I blast some melatonin?
So MRI doesn't have the radiation risk that CTs have.
Okay.
It's a magnetic pathway, not the CT radiation pathway. But you fly a lot.
Yes, I do.
So we do a big melatonin protocol. And that seems to be very effective. Because like whenever you have jet lag, your mitochondria aren't functioning as well, you feel tired, you're not as energetic. So unleashing that might be a tool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been really amazing to see kind of the benefits of dialing in mitochondrial health and like having some of that mitochondrial support there. Some pretty basic stuff that has great research on it, you know, like even stuff like cordyceps, like has some pretty cool research on VO2 max. And then obviously all the diet stuff matters so much. Like you got to get in, if you're an athlete, like your healthy carbs and all that stuff. I mean, there does seem to be like just these two different groups of people, people that have muscle on them and are able to, work out and eat healthy and stuff like this. Everything seems to hit them differently, like I feel like for a lot of people, they're like, oh, I want to get back in shape and they don't have a lot of muscle. They haven't been working out. And unfortunately, they throw the kitchen sink of peptides at their body. And I feel like it can fuck them up. Like
they don't look healthy 6 months later. Like they've lost weight, but they look like they've
so
aged
like
10
why
years.
if someone is, completely pear-shaped, not trained, and they go, you know what, I'm going to get on Tessa and a lot of these peptides, and I'm going to get on Reta. And their idea there is, well, if I just get on these things, it'll supercharge my getting in shape process. What are some things they might want to watch out for and be very wary of in their blood work?
Well, the first thing is the question is, how did you get in that hole in the first place? Because if those things still exist in your life, you're still going to stay in that hole.
Yeah.
So if you're running on high stress, low sleep, you're going to lose more muscle. There's been studies where people diet in a caloric deficit. One group sleeps more, one group sleeps less. The group that sleeps less loses more muscle than the group that sleeps more.
It's cooked.
So the first question to ask anybody is like, how did you get in the situation?
Yeah.
And then we have to kind of personalize that protocol to see what can we do to get you out of that. Now, the problem with the GLP-1s when they're used without a clinician or without a good clinician, that's a problem too, is that people are doing way too high doses. They're losing way too much muscle in the process. The studies show that on average, when you're doing the GLP-1s, you're losing the same amount of muscle that you'd lose in a high caloric deficit anyways. With a caloric deficit, no matter what, you will lose muscle. Ask any bodybuilder. So they have to inject copious amount of gear to maintain their muscle in the cut. It's the reality of cutting. But if you're not eating enough protein, if you're not getting enough sleep, if your cortisol is running high because you're always stressed out, if you're not getting any sunlight, you're going to have a worse outcome 6 months later than the person that does all those things right.
Yeah.
It's the reality of the situation.
And now another question I had for you. This is we'll go theoretical here.
Sure.
Okay. If you were to try to create a Giga Chad super soldier baby, right? So like some stuff you can do, like, so like, I'm probably going to plan on having kids in the next few years.
Nice.
Theoretically, what are some things I could do to create this Giga Chad super soldier?
So if you're going to get your wife pregnant tonight, let's say you have a great workout and you go home and you get your wife pregnant, that sperm is going to be, the creation process of that sperm started about 60 to 90 days ago.
Gotcha.
So your health for the last 60 to 90 days is going to dictate the quality of the sperm that you have now. And there's even some studies that like dads that work out have healthier kids. Is that because of the healthy habits or is it because of the genetics? That's a debate. But the idea is you need to be healthier for the lead up period when that sperm is being produced. Because whatever you're exposed to, that sperm is being exposed to.
Interesting. So you got these guys out there partying in Miami, doing bag, doing this, doing that, and then they suddenly get a random girl who's also doing that, pregnant.
It's
and then
not ideal.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a good protocol, huh?
No. So that's
so like my plan, like with my wife, it's like, okay, like she's always been like super healthy, into health. Yep. Maybe not as obsessed as I am, but I'm on a pretty insane level. But we linked her up with Dr. Andra, who's just like one of the best in the world. And so like she's going that extra step to get like super dialed in right now. And looking into hormones, looking into fertility markers, a lot of like tests you can do, gut, mold, all these type of things have huge influence. And for the man, like you're saying, they need to obviously be healthy because this does matter. It's not just the woman only.
Because you're passing on the epigenetics.
Interesting.
In the sperm to your son. So like ideally, we should all have kids when we're 18 because we're going to be healthier sperm-wise, healthier egg-wise, but that doesn't happen in modern day.
Shit, if I had a kid when I was 18, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
Right? You'd have
maybe.
You'd have a kid in high school right now.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be insane.
So that'd be crazy. But no, nonetheless, you want to be healthier in the lead up because that's going to affect the kid. Now, I think the maternal environment is way more important because not only is she giving the egg part of that, she's going to carry that kid for 9 months. And her hormonal milieu is going to affect the way the baby develops.
Yep. So
like there's studies where the higher stress mom leads to more problems for the kid metabolically down the line. Like there's a study on the Irish famine, like the kids born to Irish mothers during the famine were more likely to be obese later on. Not only those kids, the grandkids were also more likely to be obese. Why? When a lady, let's say, is pregnant with a female, the eggs that will become her kids are already in there.
Interesting. Yeah.
So like the way I think about it is when your grandma was pregnant with your mom, the egg that becomes you is already in your mother.
Wow.
So if your grandma smoked when she was pregnant with your mom, that affects you.
Interesting. Yeah.
Down the line.
Luckily, grandma didn't smoke.
There you go.
She was a doctor.
There you go. So,
can't
handle doctors.
So okay. Then so I'm gonna go Dr. Cavinson on my wife. I'm gonna be injecting her with beef liver and stuff like that. But like so you do the pregnancy as healthy and low stress as possible.
High melatonin.
Biology is super important.
And then progesterone
even
levels.
limiting travel, bro. Like we were looking into this like travel schedule for the next like few years, and we're like, okay, like shit, like when you're pregnant, like we probably don't want to go on like an international trip. Like let's just chill.
Yeah, we don't have data for that, but like from mechanisms, I wouldn't want to be on trips internationally getting radiation for the baby.
Yeah. So take a pause on that. And then, so once my kid is born, so if I want them to be Victor Wembanyama height, should I just inject them with HGH?
If you did that at birth, you screw them over. That wouldn't be good.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. This is genuinely something people have asked me. Like,
oh, by the way, all the rich people do this now.
Yeah. So
there's clinics around here. Like on my drive down, there's a bunch of clinics on the way in these richer, OC neighborhoods that have growth clinics for kids.
That's crazy. Is that why Barron Trump is like 6'9"?
It could be.
It could be allegedly. Yeah. So yeah, Albert and I are like, oh, this sounds great. But then, okay, but how do you even figure out what this is going to do? Because I don't want a kid who's 6'11". That doesn't even make like any sense. Like,
I don't think you have the genetics for that either. So.
No, I definitely. That would be horrible. So that would be horrible. Right? But so how do they even know like what's going to happen there? Like is there like a dose? Like, well, if we give. So they're injecting kids with HGH and other stuff?
So the way that this is done, okay, let's do it the medical way and then we'll do it the super physiological way.
Yeah.
There are kids that have short stature.
Yeah. Lionel Messi is a great example.
Yeah, let's do the
That's
Messi
like
example.
current right now.
Let's talk about that.
So Messi was like they were predicting that he was going to be under 5 feet.
Yes.
And so his parents brought him in.
He was so talented. Barcelona had identified him.
Yes, from a young age, they get these athletes and they're like, okay, he's really good at soccer, but we want him to grow.
He wasn't technically a dwarf. He was just it was idiopathic short stature. What you do is you actually get an X-ray of the hand, and that shows if the growth plates are open or not. Still, so what happens is under the influence of puberty during estrogen flux, you get closure of the growth plates.
Which is why if you're 12 years old, 14 years old, you shouldn't be just blasting tests.
Yeah, you got problems there, and there's a whole issue with that as we talked about in our first pod. But you look at the growth. If the growth plates are still open, you can give growth hormone to these idiopathic short stature kids under the care of an endocrinologist, and these kids now will catch up on their growth.
Interesting.
That's what happened with Messi. And there are certain regimens of growth hormone that these pediatric endocrinologists will use to adequately get the right growth hormone with less side effects.
Interesting. So they're doing like low dose, like 2 IU, 1 IU.
A few IUs a night.
Few IUs a night. Yeah.
I think it can go higher if there's a resistance, and they kind of measure IGF-1 levels, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, what these families are doing, these kids are not low in growth hormone by any means, but they are now giving their kids growth hormone so that they can be a little bit taller than their genetics would have allowed for.
Interesting. And so what age is this typically done?
It has to be done before the growth plates are closed.
And what age?
So we're talking about like at the beginning of puberty, mid-puberty, before the end of puberty. Because at the end of puberty, your growth plates are closed, you're losing that potential.
So they are sort of creating, there's like a class, like a different class, like race of like, there's a different class like of human beings. So like rich families in Orange County are taking their kids and they're like, well, we want our kid to be 6'8". So let's give them some growth hormone.
So if the kid is going to be 5'8", 6'5", and they give growth hormone, they might be 6'8". But a kid that's
it's not going to turn.
It's not going to become 6'8".
Yeah. Okay.
That's a good question, actually. I don't know. That's a good question.
Albert's like, I'll see. Albert's like,
so then that was. Here's the biohacking community comes in, and like these 14-year-old kids will take aromatase inhibitors to keep the growth plate open longer,
and then they're doing more HGH.
Yeah, so that's the question.
That's interesting.
Yes, but I wouldn't want to do like I hate anastrozole for adults, let alone for kids, because estrogen is important for the brain.
For sure.
So I wouldn't want that. But
what else could what else are people doing for their kids in terms of like biohacking?
Well, the big thing now is the IVF, the PGTG. So what happens now is you can do IVF, and I'm not promoting this, not against this. It's for everyone to decide what they want to do. But they will take the egg and sperm from mom and dad, and they will sequence all these babies, full genome sequencing on the babies. So then you can now pick which baby has this eye color, this height potential, this IQ potential.
What? Dude,
there's a number of companies that do this now. Yeah. Like a lot of my wealthier friends will actually do this because number one, you rule out a lot of diseases, but number two, they're getting to kind of do a little eugenics play and pick which kid's going to be more likely to have the traits that they want.
Yeah. The world's getting crazy.
The next step is going to be editing that, because now that you can read the genome, you can edit.
So, but then aren't people just going to combine these? They're going to go, I'm going to go do this IVF protocol and select, I want, blue eyes. I want, the high IQ, high height. And then once they're born, then let's give them some HGH. And this is going to be
have and have nots. Like there's a cool movie called Gattaca. GATTAC, like kind of like the ACA, like the genome sequence.
Mhm.
An idea, it's like 30 years in the future where there's people that are born genetically enhanced and people that are born normal.
Yeah.
And the main character is like born normal.
Yeah.
And he's trying to like be enhanced in a normal. He's going to be enhanced in a non-enhanced version of himself.
It's a really interesting.
It's a good movie, right?
Yeah.
I love the movie. We watched it in biology. Shout out to Mr. Tizer.
I don't even know what's gonna sort of happen with this though, because I feel like a lot of flaws that human beings have like develop like personality.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So like,
well, is there meaning in suffering? And then you get into this philosophical religious take.
Yeah. Like, how do you develop personality if like you're just like a genetically altered?
And everything's perfect.
Yeah.
And you're a trust fund baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I've seen a lot of trust fund drug addicts.
I don't think that it's a good way to raise your kids.
Yeah, no, you gotta. It's like a balance of like exposing
when you
them
sell
to some
Santa Cruz
adversity.
electrolytes for $1 billion. Just don't tell your kids you're a billionaire.
Dude, no, so I proposed this. No, I proposed this idea for my wife. She didn't like it. Where I go, hey, our kids are probably gonna grow up like a little like privileged, type shit. So I'm like, I'm gonna come home one day and they got to be like 8 years old. They got to be understanding what's going on. And I'm gonna go, I lost it all. Like like we gotta sell everything. The kids are gonna be like, what? We're gonna pile them in a car. We gotta pile them in a shitty car. Bring him to Mexico, and I'm gonna go live in Mexico with them for like, let's just give them like 9 months to a year. I lived in Mexico with my mom for a year when I was 11.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I got kicked out of middle school, and
you're a troublemaker kid.
I was it was kind of Palo Alto bullshit schools.
Nice.
I got in a fight in the locker room, like basic type shit, and the Palo Alto school couldn't handle that. It was a whole thing. The parents called the police. It was a whole thing. I get kicked out. I can't enroll back into the Palo Alto district school. So I go interview at a private school. They had learned kind of what happened. They don't want me there. I was like a pariah. It was horrible. My mom has some hippie friends that are moving to Mexico for a year, like artist type.
No way.
And she's like, let's just go. My kid will learn some Spanish. Not Mexican.
Your mom moved the whole family. You and her moved down there.
I moved just with my mom. I just did a video on this where I'm like, in hindsight, my mom and dad were having some issues.
Sure.
But like, I didn't know this.
You're the excuse to move.
Exactly. Yeah, I was the excuse. And so my brother and my dad stay in the United States.
Interesting.
I moved to Mexico to a random town. Well, that was random to me. It was called San Miguel de Allende. And the first house we actually rented there was in Colonia Independencia. It was like a bad neighborhood. And so I went from...
Got roughed up.
I was there. And then literally, bro, like I'm living...
School in Spanish and everything?
Half English, half Spanish school called Victoria Robbins down there and I played soccer on like this concrete court and stuff and like joined like a soccer team.
No way.
And I was just thrown into the mix there's a lot of like expat kids there, but then a lot of just Mexican kids. And like, I still talk to some of them. My buddy Gabriel's a chef down there and like I talk to him all the time. And
dude, that's awesome.
Then in hindsight, I'm like, dude, that was one of the most beneficial experiences ever. Didn't know it at the time. But then when I moved back, it caused this other thing of like, now I was like, not the new kid, people like knew me, but then I had to like, sort of like reintegrate into another middle school. Then when I went to high school, it was like, I didn't know it at the time, but it was super beneficial for me.
Sure.
I just got more perspective on life from that.
Sure.
And so, yeah, like I joke with my wife, like we need to create that for our kids. We'll do something like that. I guess acting like I lost everything but then I could be like, I got it all back and we can move back to their house. And so we'll see how that goes. But it was super beneficial. And yeah, I don't know. Like if like we get this sort of eugenics thing of like, we are in like a have and have nots in medicine right now. Like, look at my knee, bro. Like it's fucking frustrating when people are like, oh, like, can I do what you've done with your knee? I'm like, you could afford the peptides. You could afford the red light. You could afford like the increase in collagen that I'm doing. A lot of stuff.
Like people are paycheck to paycheck. Shout out.
For sure.
Shout out to this.
No, 100%.
Economy is not great, dude.
No, the economy's fucked, and most Americans don't have like $500 to
like
spend.
The patients I have in the hospital, like dude, they don't have the money to pay for their prescriptions. Like they can't pay for the $20 copay.
Yeah.
So
yeah, $50,000 knee protocol. Ain't it? So like it's it is like kind of a have and have nots thing, and and on top
of that, with UBI coming too, so it's going to be very interesting how because now people are going to be genetically better. They're going to have UBI, so they're not going to have any purpose or problems in their life. So like, what is the meaning of life? What happens? It's going to be
it's this AI shit. Yeah, the UBI stuff scares me. It does seem like a lot of tech companies are sort of hiding right now that they're doing a lot of layoffs because of AI, and they're like, no, it's not because of AI. It's like, really, it's weird fucking timing. But yeah, and then some of the AI medicine stuff is actually really interesting. So like people like Brian Johnson, Brian, I want to do a podcast with you. I got love for him. He does a lot of cool stuff. But I feel like a lot of it is like basically like chat GPTing health. So like entering into chat GPT, like in a way, I know he's doing more complex stuff than this, but like, is the sun good or bad for you? All the data we have says like, oh, avoid sun, okay. So he like goes into, is red meat good or bad for you? The data shows that red meat causes heart disease.
The data sucks. So how do you?
Yeah. So that's kind of the issue. And I feel like a lot of actually these websites that are getting built to interpret blood work and stuff, there's a bit more nuance to it. There's like this, and people aren't going to be able to afford, talking to you on the phone for an hour. Like, you never charge me. You got to send me a fucking invoice, man. But like, I have like a bunch of functional medicine doctors in my life, and like, there is a nuance to understanding gut tests, understanding blood work. Let's leave the people with some basic stuff that they could do for blood work. The lymphocyte monocyte ratio, some relatively affordable things that people can go to Quest Direct or whatever. I mean, we don't have any. Do you have a blood work sponsor? I don't have any yet.
We've been using 100 lately.
Cool.
We're friends with them up there.
Nice.
100 Health, I think $199 for the year. So
perfect.
It's pretty good. And
there's a lot of these companies now. So Rhythm, Function.
The cool part with 100 is they go and they get all your medical records from the past, like stuff you wouldn't have access to when you were a kid and all that stuff.
Nice.
And then you can kind of chat with your medical records.
Yeah.
With the new labs.
That's
so
great.
Like, hey, your labs are now this, but they were like this when you were 18, which most people don't have access to anymore because they don't have to log into their old Kaiser account or whatever it is. So I think that's going to be the next step.
Yeah, that's really
be able to engage with your medical records.
For sure.
So I'm pushing them to push that as their main thing.
And so someone goes in, what can they get basic on their blood work that they should be looking for?
Well, when it comes to the blood work, there's, the CBC, it gets you the lymphocyte monocyte ratio. I think that's going to be
Mine was great. I looked at it again when you were on the Huberman podcast.
Oh yeah?
I'll load it up after this, but it was good. I think it was like a 5.7, 5.8.
Okay, we're going to try to get you to 8.
Let's go.
I got a protocol for you. We'll talk about that after. The lymphocyte monocyte ratio is very important because if you put any disease and you look at it, you're going to see that the risk goes up and down with that. We're trying to develop protocols to modulate that.
And
thing.
Can you break down what people should be looking for in that? Because you can go to your doctor and get a CBC.
Yep, it's $3. It's $3. Yeah, and it's covered by insurance.
Yeah.
So the CBC with differential, we'll look at the different types of white blood cells that you have. There's lymphocytes, monocytes, neutrophils, etc. The lymphocytes are supposed to be higher, and the monocytes are supposed to be lower. So the ratio is going to be greater than 1. With aging, the lymphocyte number goes down, and lymphocyte quality goes down. So just because you have a lot of lymphocytes doesn't mean that they work well. And then the ratio of the different types of lymphocytes, CD4s, CD8s, NKs, B cells, can shift, and that's a different conversation. But what the data has been showing is that the lower your lymphocytes are, closer to 1,000, and shout out to Dr. Patrick Schoon, who's developing a drug to actually change this. He has published about this, that when your lymphocytes are closer to 1,000, your cancer risk dramatically increases. So what I've been doing in the hospital is I've been looking at people's trends historically, like especially the young people that come in with cancer. I'm like, what caused this person's cancer? What happened? And I'll notice that the lymphocytes have been dropping. Because I'll look at their 2019 lymphocytes and their 2026 lymphocytes. I'm like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Is that the reason that something happened to their immune system, which then allowed the cancer to grow? That's at least the theory. Like the immune escape is probably one of the bigger contributors to cancer.
For sure.
Like people are talking about BPC and cancer. That's a red herring. The real problem is your immune system sucks. And during the pandemic, for many reasons, immune systems got worse. And without even being conspiratorial, just the habits that people had during the pandemic ruined immune systems. Yeah. You were indoors all day. You were sleeping till 11 a.m. It's not healthy for you. So that's important. I think everybody should look at their hormonal profile. Women should get labs on the 21st day of their cycle to see what their progesterone is. Progesterone is the key to female vitality. It's not estrogen, it's progesterone. As you age, the balance between estrogen and progesterone is going to determine how you look and how you feel and your skin and your fertility rates. That's why when we want to have a better chance of pregnancy, we will give females that are infertile progesterone. It's progestation.
Yep.
So the reason that ladies have pregnancy glow and pregnancy hair is a progesterone. The modern living is very bad for female progesterone. It lowers progesterone levels. So you get hormonal profile, estrogen, progesterone on their 21st day of their cycle. For females, for men, you should know your testosterone level. You really want to know that when you're young, so then you can see as you get older if TRT makes sense for you. And the goal is to keep your testosterone as high as possible for as long as possible without needing TRT. The other thing is to look at your thyroid panel. I think we live in a very anti-thyroid world. The diets are not pro-thyroid. Thyroid's right in the neck. Is there radiation risk from phones? We don't know. That's probably a contributor. Iodine deficiencies, people don't get enough selenium, all these kind of things. If their thyroid is good, do they convert their T4 to T3 properly in their liver? That's another conversation. So looking at that is going to be important. A GPT can help you guide through that.
Yeah.
So you got your immune status, you've got your hormonal profiles. Those are going to be important. And then your cardiometabolic. if your A1C is high when you're young, it's going to be higher when you get older. So you have to get on top of that early on. A lot of people underestimate how healthy they are because what happens is, let's say your blood sugar is 80, so it's normal. Did you get there with using 10 units of insulin or 5 units of insulin? Like, did your body have to increase the insulin it produces because your cells are becoming resistant to insulin to push that sugar in? So then your A1C might look normal. Your sugar might look normal, but you're making so much insulin. So fasting insulin is a useful marker there.
Gotcha. To
see if you're metabolically healthy. Of course, you can look at ApoB, LDL. Those are relatively cheap and affordable lab tests. You can look at triglycerides. That's going to tell you how your cardiometabolic liver axis is looking from that perspective. And then the other thing to look at, I think, the understated part of modern living is nervous system regulation. So there's no lab for that. A simple sleep tracker, you don't have to wear it year round, but if you get a sleep tracker for a month and your HRV, you want to see where your HRV is for yourself and what your trends are. So like, you shouldn't compare HRV to other people because then it's very different. But if your HRV when you're on vacation is 50 and when you're in your work week is 20, you need to figure out a way to build that back up.
For sure.
Because no one's recovering enough. You're not recovering enough. You're tapping out your immune system, tapping out your hormonal profiles. And then that's probably causing the majority of the aging problems.
Yeah, dude, I've been doing this like breathing protocol at night along with my whole sleep protocol.
Do you do coherence or Retatrutide, or what do you do?
Lately I do 4-7-8 breathing.
Sure. And
then I go into this 10-minute guided meditation that I've posted before, which has some breathing in it as well.
Nice.
I'm thinking I want to make my own, Albert, on YouTube where I do like 4-7-8 breathing that then goes into like not like because I've done some deep breath holding protocols lately because I'm trying to do free diving and stuff. You don't want to do this at night, but like, just some stuff. I have like kind of a custom like little protocol. It's like I'm doing 4-7-8 breathing, and then I'm sort of doing like, I would call it like 5-8-9 or 5-8-10. Nice. Like getting the exhale a bit longer. And dude, I mean, you just do 5-10 minutes of that. You've done it. Like it completely changes how you feel.
Because the reading is both read and write. So your respiratory rate tells us where your nervous system is, but it also can help you write where your nervous system should be.
For sure. Yeah.
But have you done Buteyko breathing?
No.
That's when you use strategic breath holds to increase your CO2 tolerance. You got to try that.
Okay, nice.
You're going to like that.
Yeah, I'm so down for that. Yeah, it's amazing what you can do for free,
Yep.
And it's amazing like what the body just like after I got those knee injections, like with the BMAC and stuff, it's like, oh, my RHR is up, like, and it is what it is. Like, it's good to be friendly to yourself and not I feel like a lot of people just worry too much about this stuff. And it's like, it should come from a place of self-love, not fear, Like all this stuff.
That's why I hate the longevity field and the health field in general, because it's very neurotic
scary
people.
Yeah.
And you've given people that have personality disorders a big microphone and they get personality. That's the problem.
Yeah. No, and it's like
a lot of these influencers, they have severe personality problems, and then that allows them to monetize their audience.
Yeah.
Not over here, of course. But
no, I'm always like,
you're very real with it. So I appreciate that.
I want to live life to the fullest,
Yep.
And if there's basic stuff people can do, I want them to be able to do that to feel better. You and I are both people that have done certain things to our health, whether that be obviously the diet, all the basic stuff, and then certain supplements and different protocols.
Yep.
We've been like, I objectively feel better and I'm able to like experience the fabric of life better through this stuff. And so we both want to share it. But it comes from a place of enjoying life more and having more connection.
Vitality is better.
It's hard to fucking connect with people when you're in pain or your immune system is constantly flared up or you have
or your nervous system is not regulated. Because if people's parasympathetic nervous system is not firing, they're never going to be able to connect with you because they're always on guard.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and like this generation, dude, like I connect a lot with the younger generation and like the amount of anxiety, depression, stress that they have is insane.
Right.
It's not good. Like
No.
we're now seeing a lot of these kids who were in the pandemic at 12, 13, 14. Now they're becoming adults. It's about that time, 18, 19, 20 years old now. And what I'm seeing out there, man, is like I see a lot of dialed in people. But yeah, you see some of these folks who you're like, fuck, man, like what happened and how do we
fix them?
Well,
dude, I think it's circadian rhythm regulation. That's gonna be the bare bones of everything. Because if you're cooked there, you're gonna be cooked long term. It's nervous system regulation. Then it's immunity.
Yeah,
and like the immunity for the younger generation is gonna be critical. And then the fourth thing I think is hormonal profiles. Like we have to figure out what is causing this low testosterone. I don't think it's just microplastics. We can do a whole thing on that, and we've talked about it in the past. But going through puberty with lower testosterone is not conducive to good health. And then having a lower testosterone in your 20s is not conducive. Like I'm getting patients that are in their 70s in 80s that have better testosterone profiles than people that are 18. That's not acceptable.
That's wild. Maybe that's why they don't have a lot of confidence going and getting girls. Like that's like part of the.
And then they're convinced to take dutasteride or finasteride just to keep their hair, just so they can get girls, and then it doesn't end well.
Yeah, it's wild.
And, like, risk taking, because like you just stay in your risk.
Yeah, they don't want to take
you
risks.
become kind of like an incel if you don't have testosterone. And then on top of that, like you can look, people's Adam's apples are smaller. That's the new theory.
Dude, it's and I think the risk taking thing is a huge factor because like when I was young, like a lot of this like starting everything I've started and like, oh, how'd you do it? Like you put a lot of risk out there.
Yep.
Like a lot of fucking risk. And like,
because you could have gone the traditional path and gone to college and then like gotten a degree and got a job and worked up the chain.
Yeah, after I graduated UC Santa Cruz, I was like, I could go and get my master's in public health, which is what I was really thinking of doing. I was looking into different programs. I'm like, okay, that would be cool because I'd get the master's.
Sure.
My grandma would be very happy. She's all education. I'm sure you got people in your family that, you know, you might be like the favorite of your family because you got the MD. Is that because I have a cousin who's an MD and Sharad is the favorite.
Yeah,
He's a good guy.
My grandma has almost 10 kids that are doctors. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Like whatever genetics she had it worked out well. So.
Yeah. Oh my! If we had a family reunion blended together, there would be like 40 doctors.
There you go.
Like just chilling. But like there was a certain risk of like respectfully telling my mom like, hey, no, I'm gonna go like this route, and it's uncharted. Who knows? And I've made a way bigger impact in public health than I would have gotten if I had gotten my master's in public health, most likely. So,
man, it's a similar thing. Like everybody wanted me to go subspecialize more, become this interventional cardiologist that's going to open up people's arteries and make millions of dollars, whatever. But I was like, I think I want to do this path, which is health optimization and working with people. And I think that bet is proving out to be a better bet. We'll see what time shows, but I think you got to take the risk.
Yeah, 100%. We got to get 2 PSAs out there that I have to get out there because I did a post in it that went super viral, and it was largely inspired by you, actually. This unfortunate fentanyl epidemic.
Yeah.
So what's happening right now is kids are going out and partying, and they're not trying to do fentanyl, obviously.
Nope.
The data is clear that we're seeing like 70% of overdoses in young people are from fent, and that's not the amount of young kids who are trying to do fent. There's definitely some in San Francisco. I've seen those people, but like kids are going out, they're going, oh, let me do a little line of this, little pill before a rave, and you have seen this directly. So I want you to talk about literally that process. A kid comes into the ER, parents come in, like
I've seen like it's very painful. You see a mom over the body of her 18, 19, 20-year-old kid crying because they're gonna have to pull life support for a kid that's brain dead because this kid was at a party, did a bump of coke. There was fentanyl in the coke. They are now apneic because what happens when you take fentanyl, heroin, all these opioid drugs, your brain doesn't send the signal to your lungs to breathe. So you become apneic, you pass out, and you pass away very quickly. Yeah. If you have Narcan, that's why everyone should have Narcan around. Yeah. You can inject that or spray that into the nose, and then the person can come back. So that's a very important skill to know how to do. And I think now pharmacies actually offer that over the counter. So PSA, get Narcan if you are partying, you shouldn't be doing this, but have someone in the group should have Narcan with them. Yeah. At all times. Or call 911 and hopefully the people bring the Narcan in time. But yeah, I've seen this many times. It's very, very brutal because this kid was probably celebrating something or trying to live life.
Dude, when I was in high school, I went to raves. Albert, same thing. Like we did ecstasy. Like I snorted stuff up my nose in high school. I'm glad to admit it. Yeah, party in San Francisco. And we were lucky enough, we're old enough where that wasn't a thing. I'm sure there were some cases of it, but like it wasn't so much of a thing. And now it's becoming more and more common. And so yeah, like it's insane. But like I think kids need to know about this stuff because
and then Adderall too is a lot of the kids they'll take Adderall from high school. So the worst part is like these kids that are in these charter schools. Right, they're trying to do Adderall so they can get A's and go to whatever Stanford, and then they'll take an Adderall that has fentanyl in it and they'll pass away in their sleep. Or the kid that can't sleep because they're so nervous about their parents and their grades, and then they'll take a benzodiazepine that's laced with fentanyl and they'll die. Yes, it's brutal.
It is a huge issue. So kids need to know this because I think a lot of these deaths probably occur where they're like, oh my God, like why is Johnny so fucked up? Like did he drink something? They don't know what happens. It's too late. Like you're saying, nobody knows to give them Narcan. Yeah. Maybe nobody has it there, or they delay a little bit on calling 911. Maybe they're worried they're going to get caught, this type of stuff. It's not worth it. Don't do these things anyway. Stay sober. That's obviously the message, but like you need to be aware.
Get more adventurous with trying peptides, they should have to realize that like there's risks in taking any compounds, especially like these orally available pills that are coming from China that are Adderall, but they're really laced with fentanyl. Who knows if it's on purpose from China, whatever kind of biological warfare is going on. But these poor kids are getting exposed to this. So like be very careful what you put in your body. I know we're talking about peptides and all these experimental things. We're taking them from quality sources, mostly compound pharmacy sources. So just because we are adventurous in that doesn't mean you should be adventurous in all these other avenues.
For sure.
You should be very careful on what you do. And then realistically, the free habits are going to do way more for your health than any of these exogenous compounds. We can geek out on about peptides and stuff all the time. And if there's a clinical indication, that's great to use it. But the free habits, staying healthy, staying safe, staying alive, like not ODing.
You activate your own peptides by being healthy. So start there. Yeah, literally. And then the last thing, Gaza Health.
Yes.
Touch on that.
Yeah, Gaza Health is our charity. The war in Gaza is technically not over. There's a ceasefire, but there's still a humanitarian crisis there. We have the largest telehealth provider. We provide free medical care on demand to patients in Gaza. That we connect them to hundreds of different doctors across every specialty, and then we buy them their medication if they need it. And all these people are still living in tents in very miserable conditions, like rats everywhere now. It's very brutal. So we buy approximately like $50,000 to $70,000 worth of medications every month for these patients. So if you'd like to support, please, GXZA Health is on Instagram. There's a link in there in the bio. You can support that effort.
Love it. Guys, go donate. Any questions you have, leave them below because we will do this again.
Yep.
And we're going to go lift some weights now.
Let's do it.
And then we have some steaks later. Rare Society. It's going to be a good day.
Let's do it.
Love y'all. Like and subscribe. Peace.
Next time. Not.
We're going to Rare Society after workout. So.
All right. So no Santa Cruz Bowl.
That's right.
You can't eat a bunch of fat pre-workout.
That's right.
It's not ideal.
Nope.
Sometimes I feel like I digest food pretty quick. Like it doesn't fuck me up that much.
That's why I like.
Yeah. Like that.
Liquid.
Yeah. Sugar.
The intra-carb workout.
Intra-carb. Yeah.
Well, the thing is too is fats will make you a little bit insulin sensitive, insulin resistant, which will maintain the sugar for your muscle.
There we go. Yeah, I think like just if I eat like a heavy meal before I work out, I don't feel good. But
nope.
It is a bit different though with like if I'm gonna get my heart rate up versus some of the like slower weightlifting.
Yes.
It doesn't fuck me up.
I don't want to be fasted either.
No.
Yeah,
no. Why not?
If you're gonna do a bodybuilding workout and you want to get like the maximum pump, you want as much glycogen preloaded in your muscle as possible because you're not going to lose calories or burn calories. You're going to accrue as much physical side as possible.
What do you think about fasted cardio?
Fasted cardio is scientifically not validated, but bodybuilders still swear by it. So I think there's something there.
Yeah.
I think you can modulate your fat receptors, beta receptors, with certain compounds to make fasted cardio more interesting.
Like what?
Like people will take a GH or Tesamorelin,
and
then hit the fasted cardio. That's going to be an interesting combination. There's, of course, using, your Hyundai alpha ribosine that will be interesting to allow you to burn more of the fat. It's going to come down to if you do fasted cardio and then you go binge eat, it's gonna be a wash.
Yeah.
But if you're in a deficit, that matters. That's all for me.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
Yes, sir.
Oh shit, we're about to eat up.
Yeah.
You said you were doing like Canada tonic or something.
Catabolic, bro. There we go. Thank you.
Oh, thank
All the
you.
healthy carbs and everything, so this is good.
I always mess with Brendan on that.
Yeah. I'm going catabolic. Thank you so much.
Is this yams?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Mash.
I love that.
Dude, I love they have that.
Salam to the bros.
Good to see you. Brother, how you doing?
Boys.
Yeah, we do.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, Dr. Albert.
How many orders we have today?
Dr. Albert, he's my doctor.
Rippin'? Let's go.
Lightweight.
Lightweight. Let's go.
Can your doctor do this? I don't think so.
Yeah, if your doctor isn't jacked, it's a problem. It's a
I
problem.
agree with that fully.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think you should be a certain
Certain fitness level, right?
I go to 3 plates. Fucked up Santa Cruz Paleo.
Well, dude, if
strike.
Well, I didn't get a strike on my account.
Yeah, cancer apparently. And he was just like talking about cancer.
I can do whatever I want on TikTok, dude.
It's because you make the money, you know?
Yeah, I usually do 400, but today I just did 300, so I'm just gonna do cool down set. Yeah.
What do you do? 80? Okay,
Yeah, I'll do like whatever weight he does. I'm gonna do way less.
Way less.
Keep your wrist really straight. Yeah.
Call these creature curls back in my day.
Optimal Panada shoulder machine. I've been liking this one.
Yeah. That makes sense.
By the way, I can use it myself.
Really?
Would be have it cover AMG.
Pakistani culture.
Like sugar is only bad for you if you're hypothyroid because you can't metabolize it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a strong thyroid, sugar is never bad.
But like,
But
what sugar?
No, so here's the way to think about it. If you're gonna have 3,000 calories, 2,000 calories, whatever it is, you want to have as many nutrients that come with the calories. So if you're gonna get sugar, you want the dates, the honey, to have other nutrients with it.
For sure.
But sugar is bad in the presence of two things: obesity, hypothyroidism, and fats. So if you're obese, sugar's a disaster because you can't. You're metabolically insensitive. If you're an athlete.
Which like 80% of America is like metabolically insensitive. So.
By the way, I think hypothyroidism is way underdiagnosed.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like I think a majority of people are actually hypothyroid or subclinically hypothyroid, and they would benefit from fixing that either from doing the lifestyle interventions or even taking some thyroid. Or we have thyroid peptides. Yes.
What labs would people look at to see if they're hyperthyroid?
More importantly is their symptomatology. So you're looking at morning temperature and you're looking at postprandial temperature. So your morning temperature should be 97.7 and after a meal should be 98.6.
That's
If
good.
not-
to know. That's easy to measure.
Exactly. You don't want to do the scan one. You want to do like a sublevel.
I swear,
or-
my girl, before she did a bunch of functional medicine stuff, she was like always like really cold. Yeah, and then like after she did a bunch of functional medicine stuff, like not like that.
So here's the key thing.
She's still like colder than me. I like it a bit colder, but it's not
The
like.
reason everybody loves Anavar is it jacks up your thyroid like crazy. Like it makes your thyroid levels go sky high.
Interesting.
So people feel so good on Anavar. The problem with TRTs, you start TRT, right? Testosterone makes your thyroid spike. All androgens do. Then the way it works is it lowers your TBG.
Glad you guys made it say it.
Just like this SHBG.
We made it.
That's life, dude.
Yeah, that is like-
You're in now.
Thank
Eat some good food, brother.
Thank you, bro.
Just like you have SSBG, you have TBG. TBG shuttles your thyroid around. Androgens, testosterone, DHT, lower TBG. Estrogen raises TBG. So you start your TRT, you feel great. Then 6 months in, you feel like shit. Your estrogen's up, your TBG is going up, your thyroid's going down. You feel cold all the time. You're not energetic anymore. Then you bring in Anavar. That's why people end up on TRT plus. Progesterone raises your thyroid. So women love progesterone for that reason. That's why every girl's been on birth control is damaged.
Yeah.
That's the reality.
Luckily, my girl has never been on birth control ever in her life. Thank God. Dude, it messes up like people's relationships and stuff.
That's the
Like,
thymuses. That's the big part. I don't want to talk
yeah,
about.
it's
No one
good.
talks about it. It shrinks the thymus.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Dude, it's dangerous. They don't give young women enough disclosure
Have
about
you
it.
seen like when before they're not on birth control, even like they'll like a certain type of man.
Yeah.
And then they hop on,
Yeah.
they like a more feminine type of guy,
Yeah.
and then they hop back off and they're not attracted to their partner.
And a lot of women get on it, and they're on it their whole lives until they want to start having kids. So it's like,
We play a game of which girls are on birth control based on who she's attracted to. Like all the girls on birth control, they don't like me. That's for a reason. They're like a caveman looking guy. They're like, no, we don't want that guy.
power lifter.
Yeah.
Ones are going to be East Coast over here.
Awesome. Thank you.
Tupac and Biggie.
So we're eating peptides.
So actually, there's dipeptides in oysters that increase zinc uptake and increase fertility and testosterone markers.
Natural aphrodisiac.
We're working on something.
Scout ass, bro.
Yeah. Part of the thyroid experiment. So my hair now, thyroid changes straight and curly. So the hairs that are regrowing are straight. The hairs that are curly are dying. So like I have straight hair part, curly part. It's a disaster. All right.
The tomahawk right over here for everyone as well.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Slide that there. So that's the 40-ounce Wagyu tomahawk that we have there for
that
you.
new,
And is it
Keep that
okay
over
if I
here.
go over the 2 different or the 3 different cuts on the board real quick?
Yeah.
So on here you tell the difference of each of the proteins by where the sauces are placed on the board. Next to the house-made steak sauce, the American Wagyu Denver. The other side, next to the Santa Cruz salsa, is the American Wagyu tri-tip. The very bottom, right next to the berets, that is the filet for you with the chipotle onion, with tallow butter, and then the bone marrow to top it all off.